Well, even following the Sixers' disappointing second-round playoff exit this year to the Atlanta Hawks after being the number 1 seed in the East, they will still be looking to contend for a championship next season, with Joel Embiid still as the franchise player, just recently signing a big contract extension. The Sixers need to win now. And there are multiple free agents still out there that could help the Sixers get even closer to accomplishing that goal. What is going on, everybody? I'm back with another video talking all things Philly sports. Today we are talking about the possibility of Paul Millsap and or JJ Redick signing with the Sixers. So without further ado, let's get into it. So there was a very interesting article put out on Bleacher Report very recently, I believe by Jake Fisher, and he was writing about how probably the 2 top free agents still left in the market, they're both older veterans, are both looking to sign with a championship contending team to try to win a championship before their career is over. So these 2 players that he was talking about in the article are Paul Millsap and JJ Redick. So I want to look at both of these players individually. So first we'll start off with Paul Millsap. So the article said that there was plenty of teams that are interested in Paul Millsap becoming a part of their team next season and signing him in free agency. The main team that they discussed in that article was the Golden State Warriors. They've been the main team linked to him, but there was also, I believe it was the Nets, the Hawks, the Pelicans, the Sixers, and I think the Timberwolves were the other team that they were talking about in that article. I don't understand the Pelicans and Timberwolves being interested because I don't see them as contenders. But the other teams definitely make sense for him. Paul Millsap can still give you some quality minutes as a power forward in this league. He can hit the 3 at a good percentage. I think he shot over 34% the last 4 seasons. He's on a big contract, which he didn't really quite live up to in Denver, as each and every year he's kind of regressed a little bit every single year, and his playing time has gone down, but he can still be a quality piece to a championship team. He's a good defender. He's definitely well past his prime, but he can still contribute to winning a championship. He can contribute off the bench. And I think he's just looking for a nice, consistent role on a championship contending NBA team. And I think the Sixers would be a really good option for him because he could definitely play that backup 4 spot. Despite the Sixers just signing, how do you say his name? Georges Niang, who can shoot the 3 very, very well. And I think he could be a quality player for the Sixers. Paul Millsap, I definitely think, is a little bit better because he brings the element of defense on the team, and he's a veteran that's been to the conference finals multiple times before, whether that's East or West, he's been there. And he could just come in and be a good guy in the locker room and contribute on the court as well off the bench. So I think he would be a good addition for the Sixers. The thing about bringing in Paul Millsap if you're the Sixers is that the Sixers are low on cap space, and I do believe that Paul Millsap, since there's so many teams that are interested in signing him, will get a pretty decent contract. It's not going to be a minimum contract. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be more than the minimum contract, which is what I think the Sixers can basically only afford, the minimum contract to pay Paul Millsap. And I think other teams will probably give him higher offers, and he may go somewhere else. So that is the main issue in talking about bringing in Paul Millsap to the Philadelphia 76ers. I think if you could get him, that'd be a really good addition. But unless he really, really desires and wants to play in Philadelphia, I don't know how much or how likely it is that he signs here because other teams are probably going to offer him more money, and he's probably going to choose to go somewhere else. Hopefully that would not be Brooklyn, because he could end up contributing and being a very good piece on that team that is one of our main competitors in the East. So that's just my thoughts on Paul Millsap potentially joining the Sixers or joining another team. But I do think he could be, if you could get him, he'd be a very good addition to the team. Next up, JJ Redick. JJ Redick, this past year was probably one of the worst years of his career. I think he was injured for most of the entire season. He only played in a couple games for Dallas after the trade. He shot one of his lowest career percentages from 3 this season as well. But I do think bringing JJ Redick back would be a good move for the Sixers. And here's why. So number one, even though last season was one of his worst seasons shooting from 3, he still shot 37% from behind the line. And even though that's not great for him, that is really good when you compare it to most other NBA players, and he can still be very effective from there. And I'm not convinced that he's just going to keep declining from shooting. He just needs to stay healthy. I think that's the main thing with him. He needs to stay healthy, and he needs to feel a sense of continuity a little bit. In New Orleans, he was struggling, but I believe he was injured there as well. And I just don't think he enjoyed playing there. When he was in Philadelphia, I do believe that was his favorite team that he ever played for. I think he said that once. He said that he had wanted to retire as a Sixer. He had his best years of his entire career in Philadelphia. His two-man game with Joel Embiid wasn't unstoppable, but it was pretty close to it. They had one of the best two-man games in the entire league. Bringing him back would be good for his morale, would be good for Joel Embiid's morale, because they're still close friends, and they definitely enjoyed playing with each other. And JJ Redick definitely wants to come east, and I would not. This is a more realistic option in my eyes. If Sixers fans probably would rather have Paul Millsap than JJ Redick back, because a lot of people see JJ Redick as a defensive liability, which he definitely is. But you would be playing him probably only 20 minutes a game, and he wouldn't have to be on the court all the time, like he was when he was a starter in Philadelphia, and they wouldn't just pick him apart like they tried to. I mean, they would, but it would be for less time on the court, and he can still supply that shooting on offense that still makes him a net positive in my eyes. He hit big shot after big shot for us in those games when he was on our team for those 2 years, and he was just a really great player to watch, or a really fun player to watch when he was here in Philadelphia. So I think bringing JJ Redick back would be a really good option. He definitely wants to be on the East Coast where his family is in Brooklyn, and that's the other reason I definitely think we should bring JJ Redick back, because if he does not sign with us, I guarantee you he will go to the Brooklyn Nets. And do we really, trust me, it will come back to hurt us in some way. JJ Redick has made big shots against the Nets in the playoffs for us before.
2-1. Simmons, a floater on the fly. Gets his own miss. Out to Redick. 3. Good! JJ Redick!
Would you like to see that happen in reverse order? Do you want to see him hit big shots against us in the playoffs? I don't think you do. JJ Redick is definitely still a capable shooter. He just needs to stay healthy and get his mind right. And if he's playing in Philly, I'm definitely thinking that he's going to have a bounce-back year this season if he signs with the Philadelphia 76ers. So I do think he would be a great move for the Sixers. You could get him on a minimum, too. It's different than Paul Millsap, because the Sixers definitely have enough money to sign Redick, because you could probably get him for that minimum, because he would still want to come play for us, because he's been here before and he loved playing here. So those are my thoughts on Paul Millsap, JJ Redick potentially coming to the Sixers. I do think both of these players, if they were to come to Philadelphia, could help us contend for a title. They would definitely bolster our bench a little bit. Our all-bench lineups in the playoffs were a big problem, and definitely adding those two to the bench that also has Tyrese Maxey, Andre Drummond, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, players like that, they would all help the Sixers out a ton. And yeah, I just think that those are two veteran guys that can come in. They have tons of experience. They can still play on the court, and they would just be great additions to the Philadelphia 76ers team. And I definitely think they can help be a part of a title team. That's pretty much all I got for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. And that's all I got for this video. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.